Hello, everyone. This is Dana Alderman for DES214 E-Color Theory. This is your week for Wednesday session. So first of all, I want to thank you for being patient with me, having to reschedule the lecture until today. So I'm going to go ahead and hop off cam. Oh, and I'm still sniffling like crazy, and I apologize. I really do. A lot better than what I was yesterday, that's for sure. But let me get to the beginning here. And I will share my screen. I don't have anyone here today, but that's okay. We have the week 3 critiques that we're going to be doing, UI versus UX and planning. The website, that was web versus mobile. I was like, why is there a space there? And then the week 4 assessment or assignment, I'm sorry, the campaign design part 2. And then we'll go, of course, over the career integration quiz, talk about the reading and tools and things like that. And then Thursday, we will refresh with Photoshop and recap the course to prepare for the quiz. The other thing that I'm going to go a little bit more into detail was vector patterns, because I didn't get a chance to do too much of that. And I want to kind of show you some different things. So, all right. Give me 1 second. I forgot to pull up the critiques real quick. We don't have too many people in the course. Like I said, I so apologize. Command right there. Download submissions. I think there's only 2, if I'm not mistaken. And then there's one for the infographic as well. This is telling me 3 submissions, but I only see 2. That's all right. All right. Okay. All right, let's see here. It just told me that 27 fonts were removed from my computer. Why, I don't know. Okay, let's go ahead and jump. All right, so this is Drew's. And Drew did an awesome job on this, and he brought up some good points about not being able to add patterns in certain places. And, you know, I agree here with this. It's so hard to make these the width that we need them. And that's because the bar graph is only this high, okay? If there was another way, oh, excuse me. But I get it, I get it. So great job with the patterns that you used here. Let's see, A on the keyword, let's see here. Great job on that as well. You could just add another, excuse me, fill if you wanted to. I don't know, not that that would work, but I don't know, maybe a gray, you know, something like that. You could add a red and then come over here to the fill. Whoops, get back over here. to the fill and do the blending mode. You can do that overlay. And with this screen. Get the right one? No, I don't. But I will tell you, you did a really good job on it, though. There was really no way to do the line one, and I get that, and that's completely okay. You could have, you know, added something bigger plot points if you wanted to, but it just doesn't make sense to do that. So I think you did an excellent job on it. Very detailed and a great explanation. Okay. All right. So, all right. So the first one for the websites is Paula's. Paula, you did a really good job for the most part here. One thing that I really like the background. I think it works really well. The only thing is that I'm wondering, with this typeface, you've got this gray up here. If you could bring the gray down into the type, maybe make this gray a little bit darker possibly. The colors all work really well together. The background, maybe make the background a little bit lighter, because the background shouldn't be the focus, the foreground should be. The second page, great job with making sure that everything is consistent at the top. You've used the same grid structure, which works really well. Just be careful about using the same images, okay? The same thing with this one. You've got a good grid structure going on, but they all look the same. If you're going to use the same image, maybe you can change the color. Maybe the chamomile soap will be like a light yellow. Maybe the coffee will be like a tan. The lemon would be a yellow. The olive would be like a greenish color. The rose would be a rosy color. The lavender would be purple. You know, the oatmeal scrub looks pretty good. I think that works really well. But it looks to me like the typeface got squashed a little bit. Okay? So other than that, I think you did a really good job. Great grid structure. All headings are in the same spot. The only thing that I'm going to say is you got your welcome that is bold, and I'm being picky here, but these are things that need to be changed for the final. And then you've got the about section that needs to be bold. This needs to be bold. So all your subtitles and headings need to be the same. Okay. I think overall you've done a pretty good job. All right, this is Drew's. And I really, really like what you did with the pattern here. I think this pattern works very well. The color theme works very well also. Peach orange, reef green, and purple. Okay. My only suggestion for this, well, there's a few suggestions, but one of my main suggestions was to take the outer glow off here and use like the white or a little bit lighter color in here. I get why you use the green because you're trying to replicate it. This green here under iris is not the same green as this, so, and I know if you put that on top of there, it doesn't really fit, but I'm just wondering if that would work. White, you got plenty of white in your color harmony, or in your pattern behind in the background. So I'm wondering how white would work. And it looks to me like you've tried it at this point here. Yeah, because that's not the same color. This color that you're using works better than this color. So take off the outer glow or whatever, the paintbrush or whatever you put on there, and use the whitish color that you have. you know, I'm gonna, with this here, I commend you for using the something to show the page where the user is on. Okay, you did a really good job with that, and it looks to me that you're using the same grid structure. This one, you're taking up all this space right here in this region with images. This one has type and images, okay, which is totally fine. And then each page has the image here. Now, the only thing that worries me here is you only have the logo on the first page. That logo should be up usually in the left-hand side of the page, and we'll talk about it in a little bit when we go into the PowerPoint, talking about the natural flow of, you know, the eye. Okay. And then my last suggestion, I love the layout here and the colors. I think it all works really well together. This, again, the outer glow here that you have, it's just too much. I'd like to see that beautiful picture behind there. The images here, actually you could get rid of this. You don't need it on this page. You could set it up to where, you know, you're using 3 on this side, 3 on this side, and or I think there's 7 total, and you should have one haircut per. Usually per item here. Okay, so maybe you're gonna do maybe 7 across. I'm not quite sure how you want to do that, but it definitely needs to be in the same grid structure. Okay. Okay. All right. So I think you did a really good job. And that's all I have for critiques. Like I said, sorry. Save my cityscape. All right. So week 4. You've got a discussion, an assignment, an assessment, and a career integration quiz. I got an email saying, you know, has the school changed? Well, in some of the courses, I will let you know that in some of the courses, it has changed. By the time the end of year is out, or actually middle of the year probably, don't quote me on that, but all courses will be moved over to a discussion, assignment, and assessment in week 4 as well. It's not that you're getting more work, they're just more evenly distributing the work throughout the module. Okay, I don't know if you've noticed that, you know, every week it's not been really a lot of work. So it's just more evenly distributed. Okay. So, excuse me. The one thing I wanted to go through was the reading and tools today again, because there's an article on Mobile Web here about this mobile standards, Mozilla mobile standards, the development guides, the designing for mobile, the difference between responsive and adaptive design, and actually that's the one that I wanted to. I'll open that up. Optimizing your web for mobile. And then your mobile design development fundamentals, understanding the content, previewing. I've got a lot of information that I'm going to be covering in the PowerPoint today. That's why I said I don't know if I'm going to actually get to the quiz, but we need something for Thursday anyway. So let's go over here, designing for mobile. Did you know that 21% of millennials no longer use desktop computers to go online? The time is spent on smartphones increased 394% from the end of 2010 to the end of 2014. That's a huge jump, right? So responsive versus adaptive design. Responsive design it uses the relative measurements like percentages and EMs, and to ensure that your website responds to the device that it's being viewed on. Basically, the website remains the same. It's just that the content is reflowed or reorganized and resized for a better mobile experience. So say, for instance, you have a website. I'm just going to use Illustrator because that's what's open. I'll just use this right here. Okay. Say you have a website that has your navigation. Okay. We'll just all right. All right. So your navigation here. Maybe your navigation is going to be all right here. All right. And then you're going to have a nice big image right here to kind of introduce. Maybe you're going to have some images down here and some text below it. I'll bring that up. I'll do option, drag. We want to make sure, of course, I'm just doing this quickly. There we go. And then we would have just some text below it, just to create descriptions, right? Now, in the discussion, Drew brought up a good point of how he would approach descriptions, possibly just when this roll over, and it would actually show what it is, right? Now, of course, in this section over here, we would have our logo, right? Nope. Apparently I want to, here we go. And that's our logo. Everything, of course, needs to line up. But now this is a regular website, right? On a computer. Now, if we did a design for the mobile, or when we do the design for the mobile, it's going to be a lot less. You have a lot less room. So how do you feel, how do you think that it would work best? At this point, maybe instead of a horizontal navigation, maybe we are going to have a vertical navigation, right? The buttons don't need to be as wide, possibly. Maybe this image, you still want this image maybe? I'm not quite sure, but maybe you're just going to use a portion of that image. Okay. And maybe you're still going to use these images, but they're going to be a lot smaller. I mean, a lot smaller. Maybe little thumbs. Maybe you'd only have two. I don't know. Something like that. It's not quite centered, but you get it. And then maybe the logo would be up here, right? However, I will say, notice one thing. I left the background blue, right? And all the other contents have been black. Now, not saying that I would design a website like this, okay? I'm just saying the overall flow. You have to think about those types of things. You got to line everything up, you know, you've got a lot of different options that you have to consider, right? So when the screen responds to the different sizes, basically when it's large and then it shrinks down, at a certain point, you have a, say, 1024 by a 768 website. And then they shrink it down to, what, 1300 by 7, something like that. Or, not, I'm sorry, not 13 by 7, 700 by, I can't even think right now, 900, something like that. So the more narrow it gets, the more you are the less information you're going to have on the site, and you have to adapt it to fit across all devices, right? So the advantages of a responsive design is consistent experience across the devices. It's easier to maintain, future friendliness, and its disadvantages, it's slower than adaptive sites. So adaptive designs respond to different devices, and they serve as unique designs for different common screen widths. So basically, instead of designing two, one for the website and one for the mobile, it would be one for the website, one for the iPad possibly, one for the mobile phone, large size, one for the medium size, and one for the small. Okay? This is definitely going to make all the difference. Okay? Now I just stretched this, but I mean, any other time I would, take the time to redo this. Okay? So it's faster performance because those sizes are already done, right? Customizability for different devices. And the disadvantage to adaptive design is too many devices to account for. You don't know how many devices there are. So, I mean, if you did like 5 or 10 different sizes, you have to think about the sizes that are going to come into play with the newer phones. And of course, you always have to be testing, of course, right? The other thing about that is I mean, even as a responsive design, you have to test your site. But with the adaptive design, you're always going to have to design newer sizes for different devices. Okay. So, I mean, this is definitely worth a read. We're going to cover some of this anyway. But designing mobile-friendly pages, designing for OneWeb, just different things. Go ahead and make sure that you take a look at this. It is definitely worth it. Okay. All right, let's pop over here. All right, so UI versus UX. A lot of people confuse these two. UX design is what makes an interface useful. The UI design is what makes the interface beautiful. Now, with color theory, our objective here is to make it beautiful, right? It's got to include a blend of the hierarchical design elements as well as the interface elements. And in order to understand what separates these two interfaces, you must understand, not interfaces, I'm sorry, in order to understand a great interface from a good interface is understanding that UI design is merely just one layer of the entire design process. Now, in this class, we're not going to learn how to code a site. You're not going to code your mobile designs or anything like that. But I just want to be here to tell you and remind you of just certain things that you are responsible for as a website designer. Okay? So the first phase, it's a strategy. Okay, they call it a plane. The author of this content here, he calls these planes. Okay, and there's 5 planes here. You've got the strategy. So strategy is have to really do research to find out what your user needs. Who's your target audience? What are the product objectives here? Why do they need to use this website? Or why do they need to, what type of product are you using? How long will they stay on this website? How long, I mean, do you want them to go through all the pages? I mean, it's all those questions and more need to be answered. So in this stage, you should be defining the functional specifications and the content requirements for your platforms. In other words, how might you solve the problems through your platform? What are the features and how might you prioritize them? So the challenge here for designers, prioritizing features while minimizing trade-offs. Sure, you might want to have hundreds of ideas to solve a problem, but you cannot implement them all. Remember that. That is something that you cannot do. Less is more, and you'll find that out when we get a little bit farther along here. So I would, when you're designing, or not designing, when you're researching, know your target audience. Use personas. Now, a persona is a made-up person that it's a target audience. And say, for instance, my persona, her name is Jane. She goes to Starbucks every day. She takes her computer in the morning. She doesn't go to work until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. She, let's see, she's a student as well. So maybe she's taking her computer to Starbucks to do homework, right? So what would her needs be, right? For the website, a school website. Think about that. If she's a student, if she's a student, what are her needs? She needs to get to the information fast, right? So that case, you wouldn't design a beautiful, website. It would be more like a better usability website, right? But in this case, what we're designing is we are designing for soap company, right? And haircutting studio. So we have to capture these audiences. So what would a persona be for either one of those? Or our target audience? Name your persona. Come up with an age. Come up with an income. Come up with a geographical location. What do they like to do? Do they like to read? Do they like to sit in the bathtub? And do they like to take bubble baths? Do they take really good care? Do they get pedicures and manicures? Do they take really good care of their skin? Maybe they like to pamper themselves and they like to get a haircut every 6 or 8 weeks, or maybe they like to get their hair colored. Or the more you know about the client or the target audience, the better you can design this site and the better you can entice them. Okay. So, and then write a list of what's most important from the first importance to the last importance. Give me 1 second, okay? All right, sorry about that. Okay, so let's go to the next. So the next part is the scope, the functional specifications of your website, and the content requirements. So when you work for somebody, when you're designing a site, of course, everything is not going to be your choice, okay? You are going to be there to advise your clients, but there's content that has to be in there. Say, for instance, for the soap site, there's 10 different products that have to be shown in this website, right? Content requirements, that's required. So you might have a grid structure, a 12 grid structure, 12 column grid structure, right? Because we already know that we have what? We have 7 products. So you're going to at least need 3 columns, right? It's just easier to put it over 6 to kind of have a little bit more versatility with the body copy as well, right? So what about the functional specifications? What needs to be on there? Are we using a slideshow? Are we using, what type of navigation are we using? And then the size as well, right? So at a high level, the first plan is really the starting blocks of the product design, right? Here, you're applying different research methods, including the interviews, the competitive analysis, and the user personas, and other research techniques to understand what is the problem you're trying to solve, what are your users' needs, how does your product fit within the business context, what is the product objectives, right? So I'm sure you remember what competitive analysis is. Competitive analysis is when you are comparing other companies. In this case, it would be other websites. It would be companies as well. You wouldn't necessarily use their design, but you will pull ideas from it. So the next one is structure. It's your information architecture, the user flow. Information architecture, basically how well you create hierarchy in your design. The flow, the user flow, is how easy is it for them to recognize where to go from point A to point B. Is the flow of the information, is it logical? Are you going to start with an image and then end with some body copy, or are you going to start with body copy and end with an image? Do your images have descriptive text? Do they know, or is your descriptions off on the right or the left? Is your images on the other side? Do they know which ones are which? So in this stage, your ideas should begin with, or begin to form some sort of structure. The information architecture is concerned with how the information within the app is organized. And it's how users cognitively process the information. And this is so, so, so important. Because if in the principles of design, as we know, contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity plays a close role into this. If your information is not placed together in close proximity, they don't know where it belongs, right? And they can't process it properly. So you start the skeleton, basically, the interface design and the information design. Now, we're not going to go too much into the interface design, but the information design is just as important. Because information design, we learned last week, right? What did we use? What did we use on our information? Patterns and color to recognize different subsets of data, right? So this is where you really need to think about that. And this is where accessibility and the skeleton to interface design and things like that come in. The skeleton plane seeks to achieve the structure of an interface design and the information design. The interface design is concerned with the arrangement of specific interface elements to enable users to interact with functionality of the system. While information design is concerned with the presentation of the information in a way that facilitates understanding. So this all has to do with the flow of the information as well. So I mean, right now we're talking about the UI, right? Basically, the design. So on the surface of this is what I was going to say students, this is what the target audience first sees, the sensory of the experience. When they go on there, when they go on the website, are they going to be initially annoyed because you've got this music, or they can't figure out where they're going, or you've got this word twirling around the center, or the colors are too bright, or how are they going to feel when they first see this site? It's that sensory experience that's going to keep them either A, coming back, keeping them on the site to go to the next page, or it's going to drive them away. The same thing with the visual design, because that's what causes the sensory experience. The surface plane, as the name suggests, it strives for great sensory experience and a visual design. The goal here is for designers to form a visceral connection with the users by successfully communicating the brand, the product, the value, and the functionality in one cohesive image or message. So this is the plane where you'll find UI designers and visual designers doing the bulk of the work, using tools such as Photoshop, Adobe Experience Design, Illustrator, and this is where color theory and the principles of design are the most important. Okay? So we're going to jump in, we're going to talk about some rules. So the principle number one, it's clarity. Clarity comes first. There's nothing worse than ambiguity in an app. What does this button do? How did I get here? How do I go back? In order to avoid this, a designer should always ask themselves, why is this here? You must have a rationale for everything that is in the website. Does it make sense? What other possibilities can I explore? That means if you, and your first instinct is to put something there, okay, put it there, look at it, try something different, go back to it. Try something different, go back to it. I can't tell you, I'm not a web designer, but I do know how to navigate websites, and I do know how to design websites itself. I don't code websites though. One thing that you always look for is to make sure that it makes sense and it's logical, okay? Great designers know how to explore a variety of possibilities and interface layout. Excuse me. The potential trade-offs of each, and they'll understand the design might help a user best achieve their goals. Clarity in the design allows the user to feel confident while navigating through your app. I apologize, sniffles. So principle two, you want to provide a clear and meaningful feedback. You've used all the websites or the apps, and where we'll try to click a button and we'll wonder if the system registered the click. Simply put, every action needs a reaction. If you're a web developer, for example, changing the hover state of a button is a common form of feedback to allow your users to understand their hover actions. Number three is consistency. When we refer to consistency, we talk about the consistency in the consistency in the placement of the interface elements or the language throughout the product. Once your users start learning how to use a product, they shouldn't have to relearn it. So let's take a look at some examples of bad consistency. So before we go over to the next slide, I wanted to talk about voice and tone. That's basically the interface language throughout the throughout the existence of their product or whatever. Is it a playful product? Is it a serious product? Is it for people that have more money than other people, or is it a professional product? That voice and tone needs to stay consistent. Okay. So take a look at these. I want to actually zoom in here. All right. So I'm going to have you send me the answers, okay? So these are all Xfinity sites. What are some similarities, if any, and what are the differences? Also, why is this not or are these websites not consistently designed? Why would I say that? What elements make them different? Now the red rings give the hint away. Okay? So the examples we just saw might look like three different websites from different companies, but they're actually not. What might make one think of that, it's, well, the navigation bars for each of the pages use a different set of colors, layouts, font styles. As a user, this might be confusing and disorienting. And users might forget that these are under one single website. As a designer, how can you maintain consistency? Give me 1 second again. Sorry, I'm trying not to sneeze in your ears. So how can you maintain consistency? A common 8-point grid system found in the mobile apps and icon design. You can also maintain a consistent color scheme. Navigational elements across screens. The elements can be all rooted into a style guide, which is something like this. Now this is a style guide that it's an awesome thing. I call them style guides. You can call them designer toolboxes, whatever you like. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. It quits beeping at me. Okay. All right, so basically up here, this is the color palette, right? Here's the color, the typography. Roboto is this one. It tells you the title, bold, subheader, regular. Looks like all this is Roboto. Then we've got the line height. Then you've got the buttons. How are they going to look? What colors are they going to be? The outline buttons. Then you go over here. These are the forms, the examples that they're going to use, right? So staying consistent. That can help you be consistent. So principle 4, when in doubt, use established design patterns. Don't get me wrong, there is an innovation. Innovation is awesome and encouraged, but it shouldn't have to be at the expense of the user experiences. There's no need to reinvent the wheel if the wheel is doing a great job. For example, if you are ever unsure of an icon accurately or intuitively represents a word, just use the word in its place, or adhere to the common color patterns such as a shade of red to warn or alert the user, or green to mark something complete. Why use established design patterns? Well, for one, many of these established design principles are grounded in human perception. Now, this is what I was talking about, making patterns like an F-shaped pattern. This is the natural orientation of the way people read. We read from left to right, from top to bottom. Okay, that's the way we scan. If you look at the website, so it only makes sense. If you look at this number 1 right here, that should be the primary place where the business or the logo should be there, right? The business name. And then go from there. So you'll typically find the logo at the top left corner. This allows companies to strengthen their brand identities. It creates brand recognition. In the top right corner, you might typically find the pages for navigation or perhaps a search bar. It allows the user to navigate different pages with ease without searching through the page for the navigational elements. Here are 2 examples to adhere to a design pattern. Take a look at these 2. The logo is in the left corner. You've got the navigation and a search bar here, even a sign-in screen. We've got a search bar. I've gotten to the point where when I go to a website now, that every time I go to the website, I'm looking for a search bar. Or I look for the navigation up top. There's sometimes where you find the navigation down at the bottom. It's not that confusing, but I like to make sure that, you know, when I go to a website, I like the navigation to be right there. Right, get down right to the nitty-gritty and let me find what I'm looking for. Nothing more irritating than going to a website and not being able to find what I need. You agree? Principle 5, using visual hierarchy. And we've been working on this. We've been working with our website design, right? So what is visual hierarchy again? It's the arrangements of the elements in a way that implies relative importance. It is the designer's attempt to guide the order in which the eye perceives information. What is most important? So if you look at this example, when you look at this example, what is the most important information? I would say the data is the most important here. And then it kind of goes down, you know, Facebook, Twitter. And this kind of has it in a box as well. So physician, customer service. And then it has information in this that kind of sets it aside, that tells about the designer or the customer service, I'm sorry. The way to perceive information, the way we perceive information, is affected by several factors that contribute how we rank the hierarchy of the content within our layouts. So we're going to jump into some of these basic hierarchies. Typography. Typography is a very, very important part of our website. Without typography, target audiences cannot even begin to read what the product is about. Can you imagine if they could only go by pictures, images? So what makes good typography? There's two primary factors, legibility and readability. Now, legibility is, say, are you using a chalk duster typeface versus a Helvetica New? Which one is better, you know, has better legibility for titles? Are you using a curling one that's really hard to see? Now, when it comes to readability, we're talking like body copy. Are you using a body copy that is only like 8 points and it's script? Let's take a look at readability versus legibility. So actually, it's good. So I'm going to go to all right, that's fine. Yeah, I'm not going to go with that. But all right, we're going to go with something else. Let's go that one there. And I will find something else. Okay, that works. Okay. So let's look at the difference between the two. Which one is readable? This is a Rockwell regular, and this is a SF movie poster. First of all, we definitely know that it's hard to read half of this. We would have to definitely add a little bit of tracking in there. And still, some of these parts are really, really hard to read. And this is at a 12 point, I believe. Yeah, it's a 12 point. So, I mean, at the lowest, you could probably do a 10 point. But I say for this is 150%, so that's 100% right there. You can't even read this at 100%. And this is 12, this is 10. Now, the one thing about body copy, the great thing about serif typefaces is when you use serifs, it leads the eye from letter to letter. These little tangs on here, right, from your typography class, the little tangs here, it leads the eye from letter to letter. So it definitely helps with flow, right? Now, let me show you, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that, and I'm going to bring this over here, and I'm going to use, let me use the PT Sans, that's fine. And this is, I'm going to use a 10. It's a 10, okay. So now let's look at the two, between the two of them, okay? Which one is easier to read? I know I've got some little orphans and things, but I think that this is easier to read. It's a little bit bolder, and it kind of it leads that eye with the flow, right? All right, so the other factor that you want to determine to make sure that everything is easy to read is your line length. If your line length is too short, the reader jumps from line to line constantly, and it makes it extremely difficult for the reader to absorb the information. The same goes for the line length being too long. The eyes get tired very quickly. Excuse me. As a general rule, you do not want to go over 9 to 11 words. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is about a good length here, okay? You don't want to go this length either, because if you do, it gets very, very boring and very tedious. And then you've got little orphans on each line as well, right? And then you definitely don't want to do this. Okay? So as a general rule, I don't do any less than 5 words, I would say. Sometimes you can do a justification, but you have to be careful of the hills and valleys. You definitely would have to do a lot of work with that. All right, so also never center large blocks of body copy. It's much easier for us to read a block of text that is left aligned because the eye knows exactly where the text line begins, or the next line, not the text line. This is a combination, and if this was in the center here, if this was quotation, I would say that would be great. But usually, as a general rule, if you're going to left a line, left a line. If you're going to right a line, right a line. You don't want to have too many different kinds of combinations of line or alignment. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about negative space, or what we call white space as a designer. Has anyone looked into the menu, the website, and interface and thought, it feels great, but I'm not sure why? Well, now you do. Because the answer is white space. White space helps with readability and comprehension immensely. A study with Lynn 2004 found that good use of white space between paragraphs and in the left and the right margin increases comprehension by almost 20%. The reader finds it easier to focus on and process generous spaced content. And a lot of people believe that white space depends on taste. I think it's more objective than that, and we can use white space intentionally to create a strong hierarchy. Let's take a look at Helen Tran's site and how she uses white space intentionally. Take a look at this here. She's got one beautiful image here, and her name is there, right? She's using this negative space down at the bottom in front of her, but she leaves plenty of white space around her. The same thing here. How she has a certain hierarchy about the information that is most important, right? The date isn't as important, but she's got the title of each article. Excuse me. Oh, sorry about that. She uses a combination of height, font size, color, and white space to separate the content between each block itself, and allows for ease of users to naturally navigate the sections in these blocks of content. So she's got one there, and then each one has its own. But also look at the colors that are being used. We haven't gotten the color yet, but take a look at that. Oh, excuse me. So color theory is really, really complex, as you've already learned over the last 3 weeks. So color models, harmonies, tints, shades, hues, sometimes it can get confusing. Hopefully after this course, you've worked through, to continue to work on color harmonies in Adobe Color and save them for future uses. So color plays an important role in hierarchy and bringing attention to important points on a web page. It can draw the eye to certain details as well. Let's take a look at the color harmony on the next slide and see if you can guess what it is. We open the color wheel. All right, we've got red, blue, and yellow. So what is that? And that's still red, that's still yellow, and that's still blue. Triadic. Evenly spaced around the color wheel. It's also primary colors. And then they're using a neutral color. Right? Oh, silly thing. All right. So lastly, less is more. The more colors that are there, I'm sorry, the more colors that there are, the impact will individual color, what? Oh, what happened there? Oh, I see what happened. Give me 1 second. Looks like my image came forward. Wow, okay. Send to the back. Huh. All right, let me go back up. Send, whoop, no. Send backwards. There we go. I don't know what happened. Like almost, I lost my text. The more colors there are, the less impact each individual color will have. So the great example is Instagram's recent redesign. Take a look, this right here, it's the before and this is after. This gives a great, I mean, it's interesting like this, but it also brings more focus to the image, right? Let's compare websites versus mobile apps. And then when we're done with this portion, we're going to take a quick break and then we will dive into the discussion and the assignment, okay? So notice the color theme, the similarities, and the differences. So let's take a look at this. Let's zoom in a little bit. All right, we can't see everything 100%, but look at the difference between this and the mobile app. Can't really see how many changes there are, but this, other than the size, I would say, looks like it's pretty close from what I can see. But this, on the other hand, we've got the Facebook, right? And it moves here. Evidently, they didn't think that that image needed to be put on there. Because first of all, images in a mobile app design take a little bit more time to load, right? I'm not saying that you couldn't put them in there. It just all depends. What's most important? In this case, finding the location, because they are mobile, is the most important to them, right? Okay. What about this one? Actually, let's go back because I wanted to, here we go. So look at the navigation. Where is the navigation? Navigation here on the website. So where's the navigation for this? It doesn't look like it has any navigation. So if somebody really wanted to browse the website, they definitely could not, right? All right. What about this one? Notice the website, the navigation, the logo is in the corner, as always. Get started now up there, your brand, enhance your design. Now, if you look here it starts to get a little smaller. It's probably a responsive design, or it could be an adaptive design, I don't know. Notice that we've got the logo and we've got the navigation, but get started now is not here anymore. What does that say there? Get started now. This information is probably down on the next part of the page, I bet. And then when you get to this here, there's no room for the navigation. So instead of putting it in a vertical fashion here, they've got a little icon where they can click it and go, to wherever they need to. And then look, they can click on each one. So that welcome information is still there. But look at the colors. Take a look at those colors. Everything is the same. The diagonal here, the texture that they're using, everything is consistent. The headlines are the same. The welcome is the same, right? How about this one? Let's take a look at that. Okay, so we've got a lot more room. This is a lot more white space. Now, when I say white space, it's not just white, okay? White space is empty space, okay? Like we said before, less is more, right? So the online furnished luxury logo is in the left part of the page, right? And it's all the way across in this one. They decided that they're going to keep all their icons for social media. Is there a navigation element here? I don't see any navigation elements. Excuse me. Maybe they haven't gotten to that point. Maybe they just go from buy now. There's the menu down there. That's where it is there. So I'm wondering if you scroll down on that, if that would have the same thing, or they don't have they have a search bar here. Pretty much the same thing, but it just takes up this little bit here. This is probably the what they have, and then they've got that buy now. So that concludes the PowerPoint. So we're going to take a 5-minute break, and then we will come back and we will dive right into the classroom and talk about the discussion, and then I will do a demonstration for the assignment. All right, scroll through, and I will be right back. Okay, I am back. All right, so let's jump over to classroom. So this week, our discussion, it states applying 5 design considerations to produce a cohesive and accessible mobile campaign. So it's always best practice to test your website on all devices it may be seen on. So you're going to check for contrast, usability, and other considerations that need addressing to produce a cohesive and accessible mobile campaign. Even before you code your site, many things like layout, color can be tested before deployment. For this discussion, research best practices in mobile website design so that you have a good overview of how you should transition the layout of your desktop version of your website to mobile devices. You're going to embed an image of one of the pages from your website and describe at least 5 design considerations that you plan on doing and how you will implement it from the research you've done for the discussion. You can add sketches if you like. Make sure that you, it'll help when you explain your plan, kind of give a visual. We are designers, right? Your fellow classmates will give you constructive feedback. If you agree or you like something that they have done, then tell them why. If you have suggestions on improving their design, be respectful. Give everyone a chance to receive the feedback when you go into your replies. If you see a post that hasn't had feedback yet, please help your fellow students out by giving them feedback. For your citation, you might use articles to show examples of good or bad desktop mobile transitions. Make sure that you understand that you are to write 150 words for your main post, at least, and 2 follow-up posts. Excuse me. Now, in this classroom, there's very few students. Right now, I believe there are, I think, 3. So I will be replying today. I think Drew is the only one that has put his in here as of yet. But the first reply or your first initial post is due tonight by 11:59 Mountain Standard Time. And make sure that you do your 50-word reply. Okay. The assignment this week, I'll come back to this because I'm going to be demoing it. So you have an assessment. It's your final quiz. Basically, the material that has been covered throughout this course. It's from the learning objectives that we've covered in the live sessions, the readings, and the video tutorials. If you followed successfully along, you will have all the information that you need. Okay. There are 7 questions worth 5 points each. There's no time limit until the close of the course on Saturday at 11:59, but you can only take it once. So you want to identify the following color types. By CMYK, RGB, and hex code, define primary, secondary, and tertiary colors. Define tints, tones, and shades of color. You want to differentiate between analogous, complementary, and split complementary color relationships. And be careful to read the question. To help discourage cheating, some questions will seem like others, but the values have changed or what is asked for has changed. Be sure that you know what the question is asking and the values to use. Okay. We will go over information for the quiz. I will just go over information. I'm not going in the quiz to answer the questions, but we will be doing a quiz of our own tomorrow. And as always, we do have a career integration quiz. This is important to me as an instructor and to us as a college or university, should I say. It helps us to know what we have accomplished when it comes to teaching and whether the course content was valuable to you and what you thought was valuable. Okay. This is the only way that we can get your feedback heard, other than, of course, the survey. But we want to know, what did you find most useful from the readings? You can include the videos, okay, and why? What did you find most valuable from my lectures in the course and why? And what did you find most valuable in the assignments in this course and why? So make sure that you're answering in 50 words or more per question, or otherwise I cannot give you the full 5 points each. If you answer less than 50 words, you will get less than 3 points per question, okay? And this isn't my rules, this is something that is, excuse me, something that is mandatory, okay? All right, so moving on to the assignment, the campaign design. So you're going to do the 5 campaign, excuse me, consideration to produce the cohesive, accessible mobile design. So you're going to go, graphic and web design is inherently iterative process. Whether you are engaged in schoolwork, client work, or work on a personal project, the design process is a series of creating, reflecting, adjusting, creating once more. Successful designers must know how to receive and implement feedback throughout the process so the final outcome best connects with the intended audience. In addition, design products more often morph and shift over the course of time, and as a designer, you are called upon to extend the ideas into new mediums or modes. Excuse me. So this week, in addition to updating your website mock-up pages from week 3, you will be designing 3 pages of a mobile campaign. To prepare you for this endeavor, please scan the mobile web best practices site, document created by W3C, the consortium. Throughout, we will be creating mock-ups, designs, not only writing code and not writing the code for the mobile website. As a web designer, it's advantageous for you to be familiar with the technical aspects of the design. You're going to bookmark it for their future reference. So in this final assessment, you are going to listen to my feedback that I gave you for your web pages you created for week 3. In addition, you will expand your campaign to include a mock-up for a mobile version of the website. You're going to further extend the brand, research best practices in mobile website design so that you have a good overview of how you should transition your website. At this point, remember that you should be putting in social media buttons. You also should be put copyright information at the bottom, as always. So, okay, so you're going to update your work. Next, you're going to rework the content of each of those web pages so it's appropriate for a mobile version of a website or appropriate for a smartphone screen. So think about how you can streamline the content and the layout so you have a clear flow and navigation. Your mobile site should not be a direct copy of the website, but should use similar visual principles and imagery so that it feels as though it is the same family as a desktop website. See below the mobile website sizing. Note, you will be creating both horizontal and vertical versions of each page of your mobile site. So you will have 6 pages total. Okay. Now, when you are finished with your Photoshop mock-ups, with the Photoshop, you're going to mock them up. You've got your web browsers right here, 100 free mock-ups here. If I have time, I will show you how to do that today. If not, I will show you how to do that tomorrow. But for right now, we are going to jump into designing mobile websites. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Photoshop. I would have had it open, but I was working in Illustrator doing a 3D, and I had to close everything. So, all right. So let's see. DES assignment 3. I need. All right. Let me go to open. Documents. 214, week 3. Okay, there we go. We gotta go through. Turning all these off. Okay. I don't know if I deleted that or. Okay, maybe I did. Yep, I think I did. All right, well, I'm going to have to go back to that assignment. And it was, I think that was last week's. Yep, that's where it is right there. Okay. Okay, so the yellow and white. Excuse me. I don't know. I could have sworn I had it in my libraries. I know that's where I got it from. Okay. Huh. Let's take a look. It's very weird. Huh. I signed in. Huh. I don't know. Give me 1 second. I gotta find out what's going on here. Sometimes it does that. It'll sign you out and sign you into something else when they do an update. I don't think that was. I think that's my old one. Yep, exactly. It is. It's my old one. Okay, so I have to sign out. Sign back in. All right. Okay, look at that. All right, so I don't even have to do the WebSmart, the logo, because I have it in my Smart Objects now, because it signed me out. Okay. All right, good. So I can take this, I can take this, I can, use my images from here. I'm going to use the same type of thing. Looking at this, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a fill on here. I really going to use this color there. And I have the same. And I'm going to go find another image. What about us content? Maybe a bathtub or something like that. Let me go Pixabay. Got a little bit more time for my revisions, and then I can kind of figure out a foot tub. No, not a foot tub. Bath. It's a bath. Maybe I'll find a bath. Baby bath. That. That's cute. Oh, that's beautiful. Ooh, that's cute too. Yeah. Wrong angle though. Some beautiful, beautiful images. Got that already. Cute little crab. We're still going to use, I'm going to take this one because I have to finish the other one anyway. I'm just going to use a small one. Okay. Oops. We have a lavender. I need chamomile. Come on. I know you got something. Please. I don't know. Soap. This is running slow today. Yeah. Let's just put some. Blue. Excuse me. Trying not to sneeze. Excuse me. Apologize. I couldn't get to the microphone in time. It's olive. I think olive was one of them. Use this one. Sometimes you're going to have images, excuse me, that are not the same size. I'm going to show you how to. Whoops! I'll show you how to crop them. That'd be. Those are nice. It's cute too. Kind of want that, but it's not narrow enough. It's fitting that one space that I needed. Sometimes this is the part of the process that takes the longest. Lavender, look at that. Yeah, I think I'm just going to work with what I have because I don't want to take too much time. Excuse me. It's the last page I'm going through, and then I'm done because I don't know. All right, I'm going to go with what I have. All right, so we already have a color theme. We already know that, right? So we're going to come over here. I'm going to actually file and place. Let me see, where am I at? Right there. Place linked. And I only want that image in that one spot. So what? One right there. Let's try that one. Yep, it works actually pretty good. I don't even need to flip it. Okay, so this should be brown. Okay, it's brown, making sure. File and place linked. There's that. Try to finish this because then I could, excuse me, take some of these images and use them for my mobile as well. Right? Okay, so oh, it doesn't have a fill on it, that's why. They have to have a fill on it if you want to do a mask. There we go. Now I can click on the image and bump it over if I want. Looks pretty good. Do this one. I'm going to have to fill all these, so I'm going to just might as well do them all right now because I'm putting a mask on them. Like I said, it doesn't matter what color because it's not going to in place. Linked. Now, normally you do not want to put repeats images, okay? In my case, I might have to because just for the sake of time. So, oh, excuse me. And I'm selecting the rectangle first because that way it's going to put the image in the region where I want the image. See this one? I probably could get most of that in there, I bet, if not all, because I could. Yeah, I think I'm going to try to grab a white background. There we go. So this, there we go. I'm going to merge those. There we go. Now I can bring this up. Bring it over and down a little bit. Little tiny tricks here and there, you know, to really either crop or, whoops, the wrong one. This one. There we go. Little tricks that really help, especially if you have a background color. So file and place again. That's tiny. That's option click. So far, so good. I might have to find a few more though. And I've already used that. Yeah, I think I'm going to actually just go grab a couple more. Oh, I put bar soap in. That's cute. Okay, we'll just use that one. Oh, I forgot. You know, the olive oil one. I think I have it too. Place it right there. Beautiful, beautiful picture. Again, I apologize. This darn sniffling of mine. Okay. File and place. Link again. It's that last one that I just did. I don't know which one's which, so I just kind of have to. Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did. We'll use this one. I think there's a total of 7, to be honest with you. I'm just going to use. I'm going to use 6. I might find a different image for. Yeah. I think I might find a different image for this one right here. I think I'm going to, because it really. Let's do this. Let's see. Okay. I think it fits very well. Let me hit TM there and bring that across to about there. I think that'll work. Sorry about that. Okay, gosh. Let's see. Background. I don't want that. All right. There we go. I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller. And I need a rectangle stroke, but maybe. Let's see if we can put a stroke on it. I don't even know where brown is. There we go. There we go. All right. I'm pretty happy. Now, I would definitely need to get my descriptions in here. Descriptions can be just the prices in there, okay? I don't have a lot of time for demo purposes, so, I mean, I just want to, so, but pretty much is, you know, that's pretty much what I'd have. Go ahead and save that. Now, I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to do New. And I'm going to look at, excuse me, I'm going to look at my assignment again. Because my assignment is, okay, come on. Oh, right, I'm in assignment 3. I need an assignment 4. It's because I had to change. Let me go back. There we go. All right. So it's 750 by 1344. Okay. 750 by 1344. So I'm going to do 1344. Okay, so I'm going to do 3 that way. And create. Okay. I'm going to do layer, new artboard. You know what? I think I'm just going to wait. Because I want to design. Okay, so here's my home page. I'm going to select everything. I'm going to right click this and I'm going to it's not going to let me. Okay. Artboard 1. Duplicate artboard. Yeah, that's what I want to do. I'm going to take it over to Untitled, then say OK. Come over here. I am going to go. All right. Okay. I don't need this. We're going to delete that. I'm going to do my welcome all the way down to here. Holding my shift key. Okay. And I'm going to drag it down to artboard 1. All right, now I can turn that one. I can delete that one eventually, so I don't need it right now. All right, so let me see. What am I going to do with this? Let's see, artboard. Welcome. Okay. Well, first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to this up with this black and white. Why is that? Oh, I know what I did. That's why I got. That's where it is, right there. Here's that. I know that I want the same header. I want it to look the same. Rectangle 2. And I think I'm going to go down to 1 image. Yeah, this one. No, this one. Is it? Where's this other rectangle? It's locked. That's why it didn't transfer. And neither did my navigation. Navigation. And rectangle right there. Okay. That's there. That's there. Whoops, I don't want to do all that. And it's, let me go grab my history panel. My favorite thing. There we go. All right. One. No. That's another. Ah, okay. These are still up there too. Those got to be with that right there. That's got to be with that. There we go. All right. What's going on with this thing? Come on, stop fighting with this. There we go. This one, this one, this one. I moved it down. Why are you not? I don't understand. Why are you not moving? Okay, let's do one at a time then. We'll lock that. It's gonna drive me crazy. Yeah. And now it's gonna run away. I'm gonna have to bring it down a little bit. I don't know that I want this here now. I'm not sure. I've got to move all this stuff now because all right, that'll work for now. All right, so yeah, I think it's gonna be a little bit bigger. And I think technically, I think what I'm gonna technically do is I would make this other image. Oops, I'm gonna do that. I think I want to, what is it called? A icon slideshow. Let's see if I can find. That's fine. I'll use that. But I'm going to delete anchor point, delete, and delete. It works. Easy way. Work smarter, not harder, right? Okay. So we can put those there. Or, actually, I think I liked what they did with the circles, to be honest with you. And then we could probably just do that neutral gray. Like that color right there. Come on. It's giving me a hard time. It's not wanting to move. Command J. I'm not going to fight with it. There we go. Command J again. Command J. There's 3 pages, so we only need 3 pages. So, okay. And I'm going to group that. Command G as in goat. Command A. No, I don't want to do Command A because if I do a Command A, there we go. That works. I'm going to definitely have to group all that. That's all right. I'm going to group this. Command G. And that's Command A. There we go. Command A allows us to center everything. Command D to select everything first. I don't know. I probably could still. Maybe not see that at that's 100%. Yeah, I think that. What's that brown? Is it supposed to be brown? Yeah, I guess so. Brown. So my second page, I would just use the About Us content, and that's pretty much it. Click for more, and then I would have my third page. I would have an up and down navigation. Okay. I'm going to use the same texture. It's not going to be the same exact. As you see, I added a few more elements. But it's pretty close, right? And probably maybe I need to, on the other side, probably put my social media. So maybe my social media icons, something like that. This is just I will show you more. Maybe this is social media icons. Something like that. Okay. Now, to rotate them, basically we're going to, I've got this artboard. I don't need this artboard anymore. I do. I can use it, actually. I don't know how to, let me just delete it. Delete artboard. Okay, so now I'm going to go to layer, new artboard, and I got 750. So, but instead, I'm actually going to take this out. 750. And there it is right there. Okay. I need to move that over. How does it not? I don't know how. Let's see. Let's do spacing. Ungroup artboards. Let's see. Okay. Well, let's see. No. Okay, layer. Rename. Huh. That's one thing I don't know how to do. Um. Huh. Let's see. Do here. Yeah, I don't want to duplicate. Layer, new, artboard. Yeah, it's bringing it over there. I don't understand. Edit, layer. Oh, excuse me. All right, we're going to find this out. I have never had that problem. Move artboards in Photoshop. Oh, excuse me. Oh, wow. They now have an artboard. Artboard tool. Look at that. Huh. Okay. Delete artboard. No, not duplicate. Delete. There we go. All right, so let's see. Width is 13. What was that? 1370. Okay, so size up here. 1344 and then 750. There we go. Why does that? Doesn't look like the same size. Oh, excuse me. 1344. It is. It just looks different. Okay, so then you would artboard 1. You can do all 3 together. Okay, and then do an artboard 2, like if you wanted to do it down here. It's up to you. So make sure you have your vertical version and horizontal version. Okay. Now, and would you do the same thing here? Probably not, right? You have a little bit more room from left to right with this. So Okay. All right. I'll show you some finished versions on Thursday, tomorrow. And I look forward to seeing your work, and we'll cover the information for the quiz tomorrow. Thanks so much, and you guys have a great day.